Hi and welcome to Kiwi Bred, a weekly look inside the New Zealand thoroughbred breeding industry. This week we come to you from Rich Hill Stud, and first up it's a look at former New Zealand Horse of the Year, Jimmy Choux, as he embarks on a new career. Well, John, tell us a little bit about the purchase of Jimmy Choux from Richard and Liz Wood and how he came to Rich Hill Stud.
Well, like a lot of things in this industry, it was just a matter of being in the right place at the right time, Simon. And I was at the May broodmare sale at Karaka, and I had a chance conversation with Adrian Clark and Greg Tomlinson from Nearkau Stud. They asked me if there were any stallion prospects available that I was interested in, because they felt that it was very timely for them to buy into a horse. And I mentioned Jimmy Choux, and at the time I didn't realise he was still available, and fortunately I knew Richard and Liz Wood quite well from many years ago. I adjusted horses for Richard, so I gave him a ring, and that's how the process happened.
Have they retained quite a number of shares in Jimmy Choux?
Yes, to get the original deal done, Richard and Liz agreed to retain a number of shares to give us time to sell some more down, which we've done. Some very successful breeders have taken shares, Trelawney Stud probably most recently, and there are still some shares available. Richard and Liz want to obviously retain an interest in the horse long term, but they're still happy to sell down a few more to further his stud career.
On the racetrack, I mean, we all know his ability, but what sort of racehorse was he, do you think? I mean, what appeals for the breeder?
He was a Group 1 performer at 2, 3 and 4. 5 of those Group 1s were at the elite level. He basically bloused the Australian 3-year-olds in the Guineas over there, and he run what could be classed as an unlucky second in the Cox Plate. So he's really got a record second to none of horses that have recently retired to stud in New Zealand. It's going to give us a huge advantage in marketing the horse, because everybody knows him.
Jimmy Choux being grabbed by Twilight Savings. He's remarkable's running on in Costa Diablo, and remember how from the back near the fence, Jimmy Choux and Twilight Savings on the inside. Remember how Jimmy's kicking. Remember how Twilight Savings, he's remarkable. Jimmy Choux for the Guineas.
Jimmy's made the lead, 300 metres to go. Can he stay now? Jimmy Choux by 2. Here's Historian on the level. Yin Yang Masters here in Nevada. He's getting tired, Jimmy. 100 metres to go. Historian's coming after him. So is on the level. Jimmy Choux digging in. Historian and on the level. He's the man. Jimmy's the man. Jimmy Choux wins the Telecom New Zealand Derby brilliantly.
Jimmy Choux trying to wind up down the outside from Shamrocker. It's retrieved the leader with about 150 to go. Jimmy Choux starting to put in the big ones. Look at Jimmy Choux. He raced up on the outside. This is an outstanding win. Jimmy Choux beat Retrieve. Third home was Shamrocker, then Light Brigade.
As a 3-year-old, to have one of the epic 3-year-old campaigns, I mean, he was winning the 2,000 Guineas in November, and he was still good enough then to go on and win the New Zealand Derby in March, and then go to Sydney and blow them away in the Rosehill Guineas. So it's a pretty unique race record.
Group 1 success in New Zealand is one thing, but Group 1 success in Australia, and you mentioned the second in the Cox Plate, they must be great for you to promote him as a stallion.
Yeah, well look, everybody knows, if they've been following the trends, that the Australian buying bench, the Australian breeders, have swung right back to their own product. I mean, probably 8 of the top 10 stallions in Australia at the moment are Australian raced and Australian bred. The likes of Fastnet Rock, Reduced Choice, etc. The interesting thing for me is Jimmy Choux is the highest rated horse in Australasia to go to stud this season, and if he throws horses as good as himself, well, he's going to be basically the likes of Manhattan Rain and those sort of horses that have gone to stud in Australia. The Jimmy Choux are going to be superior, because he was a far superior racehorse.
Looked like a powerful horse on the racetrack, but he's a little bit bigger than you think.
Yeah, well, when I rang John Barry about him, he said he'd measured him at 16-1 hands, and yeah, he's such a well-balanced horse. He's deceptively tall, and he's very well put together, great shoulder and a great masculine head, and very strong, and as you can see, he's letting down very quickly.
Transition from racehorse to stallion, how have you found that with him?
Oh, look, very good. John Barry said to me, everywhere he goes, he takes a day to settle in, and then he's right as rain, and that was pretty much how we found him. He arrived here, looked around for the first day, and then As you can see, by his condition, he's already covered over a dozen mares, and he's in great condition. He's taken to the service barn very well, so and another few days we'll be scanning our first mares, so that's always very exciting.
What's the appeal of his pedigree? Because by Thorne Park, obviously, who's been pretty successful in New Zealand.
Exactly. Thorne Park's a relatively young side to already be a champion sire, which he is. The other key ingredient is his broodmare sire, of course, is Centane, and Centane's going to go down as one of our greatest broodmare sires ever. He's probably was a very good sire, but he's an exceptional broodmare sire. And the other thing that really appealed to me, if you look at his tabulated pedigree, he has 4 lines of Star Kingdom in his first 6 generations, and that sort of blood is just not available anymore. Star Kingdom blood is the basis of the Australasian industry.
The announcement to bring him here to Rich Hill, how popular has that been with some of your loyal clients?
Yeah, well look, we've got people that have supported us every year with our stallions, and a lot of them have done very well over the years. Yeah, he's obviously going to be a very popular horse. I think the key thing was we put him at a fee at 10,000, where he's accessible to all breeders, and Richard and Liz had a big input into this. They were adamant, as we all were, that we wanted to make the horse available to as many people as possible, and he was the people's champion at 10,000, 5-time Group 1 winner. I don't think you get value like that anywhere in the world. When a horse like that goes to stud, everybody's very positive about it, because he'll be an asset to our industry in the future. New Zealand Bloodstock are very positive about the horse. The breeders are very positive about the horse. We're very positive about him, so I think he's going to have a great platform to start his stud career on.
We look forward to following the progress of Jimmy Choux. Now it's time to catch up with Tim Pearce, thanks to International Animal Health Products, and this is the first in a 3-part series on the limb conformation in young thoroughbreds.
Tim, over the next 3 weeks we're going to be talking to you about the conformation of a thoroughbred. Firstly, when we talk about conformation or limb conformation in a thoroughbred, what do we mean?
Basically, we're talking about the way the limb leaves the body and the angle that it will hit the ground and the angle that the joints are on, and the alignment of the bones down from the body to the ground. And everyone has their own ideas what's perfect, but basically there are some biomechanical rules, I think, that the range that we accept is what will withstand galloping as an older racehorse is, it basically needs to have enough correctness in terms of being straight to the ground and having a good angle through pastern, having a nice knee that's not back at the knee, that can absorb the shock going fast.
When we're breeding thoroughbreds, why later on in their life is it so important for them to be correctly conformed?
At high speed, there are huge mechanical forces being placed on the body. Now, of course, there are horses that can run fast with bent legs, and there's no doubt about that. But the forces that they exert on their limbs are not able to be upheld so well as they are in a well-conformed horse. The idea being that if you're going and you're looking for the correct horse and the best type of horse, is that it has all its bones in a line and has good angles for those forces to be absorbed, and hopefully it'll be longer, that will last as a sound racehorse.
We know that when we're taking young horses to the sales, they're having to be x-rayed. What's so important about these x-rays?
I think the whole x-raying thing, it opens a whole lot of extra information to the buyer to see. And I guess what it does is it allows you to see some of the things that have happened during the growth of that yearling, weanling and yearling. And it can eliminate a lot of the things that occur in that process, in that time that they grow, so that you may perhaps be buying a horse that has an OCD or a problem that has come out of growth. There are other things that you can assess through X-rays, and I think the importance of the strength of the sesamoids and the relative strength that you can tell in things like the knee, X-rays of the knee, basically how stressed they've been through their preparation, and looking at the quality of that bone is really important.
Do you think there's different ways to manage horses that will go on to the sales and others that perhaps need a little bit more time?
Absolutely, and I think every stud owner or every stud manager knows, you know, there are certain ones that just aren't going to make that date in the end of January at Karaka, because honestly, you know, it's a lot of pressure on a horse to be presented at its best as of that sale, end of January, beginning of February. And many horses, depending on what, you know, how how precocious they may be, or how well grown they are, or if they've had a check through a disease problem, some of them are just unable to look their best at that time, and many people will market them in a different way, and I mean, that's common sense really.